Today on WNBC Hometown News, New Jersey Transit is refunding some unused tickets. At least 4 people are dead as storms stretch across the South. And Senator Bob Menendez says his wife has breast cancer and will require a mastectomy. Welcome to WNBC Hometown News. Thanks for joining us. I'm Justin Lang. We'll have the latest on those top stories and more coming up, but first, with Memorial Day weekend approaching, the TSA is prepared for the busiest summer travel season ever. Megan Stefik has more. Refunds are being given by New Jersey Transit for unused one-way bus, rail, and light rail tickets that were purchased before June 1st of this year. Tickets purchased on or after June 1st must be used by July 31st and will not be eligible for refunds. The refund policy also applies to Rail 10 trip tickets, which are 10 one-way rail tickets purchased in a single transaction. The decision by the agency comes after backlash from customers who said they weren't aware until recently that some tickets were subject to an expiration date. The MTA has rolled out part of their new electric bus fleet for routes in the 5 boroughs. Here's the story. Senator Bob Menendez says his wife has breast cancer and will require a mastectomy, a revelation made just as the presentation of evidence began at his New York bribery trial. The New Jersey Democrat said in a statement there was concern about the seriousness and advanced stage of the disease that was recently diagnosed for Nadine Menendez. She was also charged in the bribery case, though her trial has been postponed until at least July. The senator says he's revealing the diagnosis at his wife's request after constant media inquiries. Her lawyer declined comment. The Sparta Police Department has issued a public advisory following 2 separate bear incidents in the past 2 weeks. The first happened on May 9th. A bear attacked a resident's dog on Graphic Boulevard. This was followed by a second incident on May 13th, where another encounter occurred on Mountain Spring Drive. One of the incidents resulted in the death of the resident's dog, and the second resulted in injuries to the resident's dogs. The Sparta Township Police Department and officials from New Jersey Fish and Wildlife are currently investigating these events and are taking appropriate measures to ensure public safety. At least 4 people are dead as multiple rounds of powerful storms stretch across the South. The waterlogged ground is struggling to absorb inches of fresh downpour. The result is life-threatening floods. The wind is also dangerous as it throws debris and shatters windows. Amy Kiley reports the severe weather continues today. New data from the U.S. Census Bureau reveals population trends after the pandemic. Experts who analyzed the numbers say populations of many big cities rebounded from July 2022 to July 2023. The Census Bureau reported that in the Northeast and Midwest, on average, cities of 50,000 people or more showed growth reversing declines in 2022. Population growth was highest nationwide in the South, where cities grew an average of 1%, compared with 0.2% or less in the rest of the U.S. The most populated cities haven't changed. They are still New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, and Phoenix. Jacksonville and Fort Worth, Texas jumped up the list. A barge slammed into a bridge in Texas, causing an oil spill. Now there are concerns about the environment and how it could impact traffic on the waterways. Jen Sullivan has more. If you're in the market for a new car, expect high monthly costs to pay off the loan. The car market is being rocked by record high interest rates and higher sticker prices. So how can consumers help lower their costs? Avni Lal reports. Coming up, more of your top stories when we come back. You're watching WNBC Hometown News. Welcome back to WNBC Hometown News. Job search company Indeed has announced layoffs. Indeed CEO Chris Yams said in a letter to workers about 1,000 employees will be cut. The reductions will mainly affect research and development and go-to-market teams. It comes about a year after the company let go 2,200 workers. Indeed has headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut and Austin, Texas. The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey shared their high-tech equipment and vehicles that are being used to help preserve the environment, as well as ideas to push sustainability forward. Megan Stefik reports. This Sunday is the 21st annual Tour de Elizabeth. Cyclists of all ages and skill levels are invited to participate in this event, exploring the scenic parks, waterfront paths, businesses, residences, and historic neighborhoods of Elizabeth. It's an opportunity for cyclists to experience a unique perspective of New Jersey's fourth largest city while enjoying a fun-filled day of biking with family and friends. The event kicks off and concludes at City Hall in Elizabeth. Registration begins at 7 a.m., with the ride starting promptly at 9 a.m. Rikers Island Jail has opened a kid-friendly visitation room. Here's the story. A group of Atlantic City casino workers has asked a judge to ban smoking in the gambling halls, citing the toxic effects of working there. New Jersey officials said that ending smoking could jeopardize a $500 million pot of money for senior citizens and the disabled. Superior Court Judge Patrick Bartels did not issue a ruling, but says he'll do so soon. A ruling banning smoking in the 9 casinos would be a seismic event for the city's gambling industry, but it would be an equally impactful change for workers who say they are sick of having to breathe smoke in order to make a living. The market for electric vehicles has grown rapidly in recent years and is expected to continue to grow to 40% of total passenger car sales by 2030, according to S&P Global Mobility forecasts. On this weekend's Hometown, Avni Lal has more with General Motors Director for EV Ecosystems, who shares tips about maintaining these automobiles. Here's a preview. That was Derek Sequeira, the Director for EV Ecosystems at General Motors. Spring has traditionally seen the U.S. housing market in full bloom, but a recent Gallup survey shows Americans feeling gloomy about their prospects, especially those hoping to buy a home for the first time. Karen Caifa is in Washington with a look at what's clouding consumers' views of the market. Coming up, more of your local news when we come back. You're watching WNBC Hometown News. Welcome back to WNBC Hometown News. Here's a look at some of today's top sports headlines. And here is your WNBC Hometown News weather report. And finally, recapping news from earlier in the show. Refunds are being given by NJ Transit for unused one-way bus, rail, and light rail tickets that were purchased before June 1st of this year. Tickets purchased on or after June 1st must be used by July 31st and will not be eligible for refunds. The refund policy also applies to Rail 10 trip tickets, which are 10 one-way rail tickets purchased in a single transaction. The decision by the agency comes after backlash from customers who said they weren't aware until recently that some tickets were subject to an expiration date. And that's our show for this hour. I'm Justin Lang. Don't forget to tune into Hometown tomorrow morning at 8:30 and enjoy the rest of your Friday.